Hello there, my single mother tribe. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me for another Check-In Wednesday. My name is Hope, and I'm your fairy single godmother. Are you constantly stressed out? Do you always find yourself in a frizzy? Well, stick around, and I am going to talk about stress management for single mothers. I'm going to give you some pointers that I believe will be helpful to help you to manage your stress, okay? Well, without further ado, let's get started. But before we do, if you are joining me via YouTube, Hope for Single Mothers YouTube channel, please do me a favor and go ahead and click that subscribe button. And also, if you know someone that could really benefit or just really would need to connect to Hope for Single Mothers YouTube channel, go ahead, let them know, spread the word, get the word out, okay? I am growing my subscribership and I would really like for you to help me out, okay? And I really thank you for being a subscriber. And if you're joining me via Hope for Single Mothers Facebook group, hello ladies. We actually will be picking up after this video. We will be continuing in our own group chat on Wednesday at 8 p.m., which is later on. So I'm not sure if you're watching this video in the morning, afternoon, but we will be picking up and continuing this conversation at 8 p.m. today, okay? So I started last week with my group chat, and we were talking about basically stress. And over that, those of you who aren't able to join me, I'm going to go over some things that I had discussed last week, and also I'm going to touch on some things that I didn't get an opportunity to. And I've also decided to break this into a 4-part series, only because I just believe that stress management for single mothers is just absolutely imperative. I know that we handle a lot, we deal with a lot, we go through a lot, and so I just believe that learning how to manage our stress and even to reduce it and alleviate it altogether would just be very helpful and just make us, just healthy, and it would just help us as far as, what we do as single mothers, okay? So basically, as I said before, this is going to be a 4-part series, and this is going to be one. I had intended on doing a video last week, but I wasn't feeling well, but I did post and I was in my group chat. But like I said, if you're joining me, Hope for Single Mothers YouTube channel, you were not able to participate in that. So I'm going to rewind and cover some things, like I said, that you may have not been able to see because I didn't film last week, okay? So basically, what is stress? So according to the Cleveland Clinic, stress is defined as our body's way of responding to changes or adjustments. So basically, according to the Cleveland Clinic, it's how our bodies react to changes that require adjustments or responses. So basically, how our bodies respond mentally, emotionally, and even physically, those are some things that can kind of trigger stress. But not all stress is bad. Actually, stress is a normal part of life, so we might as well just get used to it. Not saying that it's a normal way of living, and I want to make some clarifications. I just want to let you know that, unhealthy stress, our bodies were not created, to, just harbor, unhealthy stress. And when I say unhealthy stress, basically it's stress that have not been resolved, unintended stress. There are some healthy stress. And with the healthy stress, you may get, there are healthy stress that comes as a result of, a child being born, or you moving into a new house, or, you getting promotion on your job, or, you giving a speech or whatever. Those are considered good stressors, because good stressors serve a specific purpose for a specific time. And so basically after that time, or that specific purpose or goal has been accomplished, then that stress should be alleviated. Now, I'm going to talk to you about 3 different types of stress. And I'm also going to talk to you about stressors, okay? 4 kinds of stressors, okay? And then next week, I'll pick back up on the types of stressors. Okay, so I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna talk to you about the three different types of stress, and kind of touch on some stressors there. Okay, so basically, like I said, not all stress is bad, and I would like to explain to you what is considered good stress. Like I said, a good stress is something, or a body's way of responding to something. So basically, a good stress would be, um, you know, if you've heard of the fight or flight, when our bodies sense danger, our hearts might start racing, and we may feel really anxious. Basically, that's our body's way of cueing us that danger is near, or there's something that we need to address. And so basically, if there's danger near, our body is going, we may feel a burst of energy. Your heart may start racing, you may start sweating. um, you may get anxious, and basically your body is preparing you to do something in preparation to protect itself. Usually, like I said, if someone jumps out in front of you and startles you, your heart will skip a beat, or you'll get kind of you jumpy. If you're in a car and you're driving and you have to, press the brakes real fast to avoid a car accident, those are just different stresses that our bodies trigger to protect us and to keep us out of danger. Okay, and like I said, with those, it's just for a specific time to, like I said, either avoid danger or to protect us and keep us out of harm's way. Also, a good stressor would be, I know when I was in college, if I had a paper due, or if I had a speech due or something, and even now, so I mean, I'm not really uncomfortable, or really don't get too nervous when I speak in public, because I've been doing it for so long, and it's just a gift, it's a natural gift that I have. But every now and again, I'll still get kind of, nervous when, for instance, with the Hope for Single Mothers launch, when I had my launch luncheon, I was kind of, my nerves were kind of on edge, only because I just wanted everything to go smoothly, and I just wanted everything to go well. And so I was kind of, a little bit anxious about it. So those are good stressors. Like I said, when we have to accomplish something, when we have a goal ahead of us that needs to be accomplished, we may, sense that nervousness, or that, get a little bit anxious, and that's good. And usually after, the task has been completed, the goal has been accomplished, that stress will alleviate. So those are, those are considered good stresses. Okay, so I'm going to get into what's considered a bad stress. So basically, and you know what? Let me backtrack. Okay. So, under the category of a good stress would be called acute stressors, or acute stress. That's one type of stress. And like I said, that stress is most common. And basically, that stress is just, it's as a result of, a situation, or, like I said, it's a result of our bodies, sensing danger, or trying to protect us, or there's a goal or something that has to get done. So then our bodies will, signal, us to that, the heart starts racing, or we get nervous, or whatever. That's acute. So basically, with acute stress, it comes and goes. It's not a lingering, staying kind of stress. And like I said, usually after something has been resolved or accomplished, that stress will leave. Okay. Now, bad stress, or episodic acute stress, is basically, if you've ever known someone that it just seems like they are always having an issue, they're always in crisis mode. Like, it seems like one thing after another, or even yourself. I know, there was a time in my life, and just recently this year, to be honest, it just seems like one thing after another was just happening. I couldn't hardly catch a breath. And those are episodic, acute stress, where it seems like I said, one thing is just going on. Your body is just in one episode of stress up to another episode of stress, basically how things are kind of happening or occurring in your life. But even with those, like I said, that type of stress, if that stress is not treated or is not resolved, that can move into chronic stress. And basically, even with episodic acute stress, that's kind of like a borderline, because like I said, if that stress is not managed, if it's not resolved, then it could start to become unhealthy for us. And so for the unhealthy stress, that's chronic stress. And like I said, our bodies were not created to live in chronic stress. Our bodies were not created to handle stress on a day to day basis. And when I say stress, I'm talking about the bad stress. I'm not talking about the stress that we may encounter from day to day because of, different things, environments, or things, different things that might be beyond our control. I'm talking about stress that has gone over unresolved for a period of time. When we start moving into chronic stress, that's when it begins to affect our nervous system. And I can attest to this myself. I don't know if you've heard me talk about, years ago when I was dealing with a lot of issues with my body, fibromyalgia, and then back in 2011, I believe, when I was diagnosed with MS. And at that time, I didn't know, excuse me, until I start really doing some research and taking control of my body and just really taking the driver's seat to my health, that I had done a lot of research in. And to come to find out is that with fibromyalgia and MS and lupus and all of those, rheumatoid arthritis, all of those are autoimmune diseases. And those diseases, autoimmune disease is triggered by stress, unresolved um, chronic stress. And so it's not good, for us not to, deal with stress. It's not good for us to allow, stress to be unresolved and undealt with in our life. And that's why I'm here with you to help you to know the proper ways of handling stress. Okay. So, as I said before, with the three different types of stress, is the acute stress. Like I said, that's the stress that comes and goes, is not a staying or lingering stress. And then the episodic acute stress, those are more current, those are more frequent, and like I said, it's okay as long as you deal with it and you resolve it. But stress that has goes on for a period of time, excuse me, moves into the chronic stress, and that's when it becomes to be that's when it gets to be unhealthy for us. So you want to just watch out for that. Okay. And then what I would like to talk about, and which I kind of touched on last week, was the different kinds of stressors. And so there are four different types of stressors. And when I say types of stressors, these are in a category with, so many other list of things that are, actually cause stress. But these are stressors. And a stressor is something that causes stress to our bodies. So there's our environmental stressors. An environmental stressor basically is things that are in the environment, pretty much our atmosphere, our environment. Um, there are biological and chemical stressors, and that has to deal with our body and our minds. And then there are external stressors, and external stressors basically are stressors that are beyond our control. They're outside of our sphere of control, but it's not outside of our sphere of how we respond to it. So although we may not be able to control it per se, we certainly can control our responses to it. And then lastly, another stressor or category of stress, or excuse me, would be internal stressors. And those are stressors that, pretty much are triggered through our mind. And I would like to say a lot of times that, if we're not careful with our thoughts, or not cautious and disciplined in the area of our thoughts, that a lot of times we can think ourselves into stress. We can, if we're just allowing any kind of thoughts to just, fly across our minds, and if we entertain it, that before you know it, it's just a thought in your mind that you have entertained. Nothing outside, nothing externally has happened, but you know how you can create your own story. You can create your own worst case scenario in your mind. Nothing has happened yet, but it's all up here in his mind. And that alone can cause stress. I think one of the biggest stressors, and I'm just personally speaking, you may find it differently yourself, is mental stress. I think mental stress is most draining, and it may even be the hardest stress, even though it's something that we can control. And a lot of people just don't think that they can do it. Like I said, a lot of people, and I used to be that person. I used to be that person. Every little thought that came across my mind, I entertained it. I am a thinker. So I would have the whole story pictured in my mind, my side and the other person's side, and everything else in between. And and usually, more than not, that whatever story or scenario I created in my mind was worse than the actual whatever happened. And a lot of times it never happened. And so, a lot of times, and I find myself, because where I work, it's a stress induced environment. I just choose not to allow it to get to me. The people that I interact with and the people that I serve at my job, I deal with a lot of single mothers, especially. And I understand, because I was once in their shoes. I was once on government assistance, and received government assistant housing. Wasn't in housing. Well, yes, I was at one point. But so I understand the stress that comes with, being low income and in poverty. That's a stressor within itself. Um, and just, being, your finances and not being, financially secure. I think, that could be a big enough stressor for anyone. And so, just dealing with a lot of, like I said, single mothers, and we carry so much as single mothers, as far as stress is concerned, and responsibilities, and we have to try to figure everything out for us, our children. And so there's just a lot of weight that we carry on a daily basis, and we just have to learn how to cast that weight. Because, like I said, I don't believe God intended for us to walk around carry that weight. The Word of God says to cast all of your cares upon the Lord, and he will care for because he cares for you. So God doesn't intend for us to walk around carrying all this weight, all these burdens, all these concerns, because he understands that our bodies were not created to handle that if those things go unresolved, that it will begin to affect our bodies in a negative way. It will begin to affect our health in a negative way. So, I used to be a worrywart. I used to worry about worrying. And so I understand the process. I've been on the other side, and now I'm in a place, and I've been for years in a place of peace. I know what it's like to not live in peace. I know what it's like I said, to be so exhausted in your mind because you're constantly thinking. I know what it feels like to be so exhausted with life, but I chose to take control of my life. I chose, instead of standing by and allowing life to happen to me, I really chose to start making life happen for me. And no, and it took a decision in my mind. It took a decision that, what, I'm not going to stand by and be a victim anymore. That I have control over things. Yes, there's things that we don't have control over, but for the most part, like I said, I don't believe we're ever in a position to where our back is against the wall. I don't care how tight things may be. I don't care how out of control your life may seem to be. Your back is never against the wall. You have the freedom. You have the freedom of choice, and no one can take that away from you. You can choose how you respond. You can choose, what to allow and what not to allow, and you can choose what's next. So I begin to, like I said, I began to exercise my freedom of choice. I did, instead of taking a victim role and victim mentality, I began to stand up and take accountability for my life. And like I said, I understand that there's things that we can't control. There's things that's beyond our control, those external stressors. But we sure enough can control, like I said, how we respond. We can control what we will and will not put up with, and we can control what happens next. And so as I begin to take responsibility for my life, as I began to take responsibility for my freedom of choice and begin to exercise it, I began to experience peace in my life in areas that it was like so chaotic and just so unstable and so just just a mess, and so I just want to encourage you, like I said, um that you have control over you. We may not be able to control other people, what they say, what they do, and even to a certain extent, because we can control what people do to us. We really can, because how we show people how to treat us is how we treat ourselves. So we can set the example for people to know how to treat us. And so we, like I said, it's about creating boundaries. It's about how you carry yourself and how you treat yourself, and what you allow and what you don't allow. You have control over that. And so, but there are some extenuating circumstances, such as, you may not be able to control, things that happen at your job, as far as, you know, you may not be able to control your boss, but you can control how you respond to your boss. You can control the steps and the things that you may do to have a better relationship with your boss. You can control, your environment, your work environment. Like I said, at my job, it's highly stressful. If I allowed it to be, I would be stressed. I mean, I would be just out of my mind probably if I'd allowed my job to get to me. I work with absolutely great people, but like I said, it's just a stress induced environment, because of just the nature of the people that I serve and help, and just the nature of things that we're dealing with, but I don't take things personally. And I have been cussed out. I have been threatened. I mean, anything that you could think about that could happen to someone, just about. I have been on the front line, and I have just been hit, with so much. But I just let that stuff just roll off of me, because, I don't know, how I deal with things is different than how, and people may not have coping skills. People may not know how to cope with different things. And I don't even know why I'm on this subject. But I had to learn. When I stopped becoming so easily offended by what other people say or what other people do, I found so much peace in my life. When I began to just take people at face value, meaning that I accepted them as they are instead of expecting them to be something more than what they can be. When I began to do that, I am telling you, I began to experience so much peace in my life, because I was in control of this right here. I may not be able to control that out there, but this right here, I can control. And so I can control what, if something comes at me, I can control how close it is going to get to me. I can control how it's going to affect my thinking. I can control how it's going to affect how I feel and my emotions. And I can control how it's going to affect even my response. What am I going to do? And like I said, I chose to that was a decision that I had to make. And so, yeah, so like I said, I don't know why I got on that subject, but hey, maybe somebody needs to hear that. So for me, and people at my job, my coworkers, they're like, you're such a saint. Like, you are just, how are you able to just stay so calm under such stressful circumstances? And I'm like, because, you know, I've made a decision that nothing is going to take my peace. I know what I had to fight for. I know what I had to go through to be at peace in my life right now. And I'm not going to give this peace up easily. I'm going to fight for it. The Bible says to pursue and to chase after peace with all diligence. Peace is not something that we just hand over and we just give away. Yet there are people that, it takes, a drop of a dime and boom, they're upset, they're all entangled, they're all twisted up, and they're just all stressed out. And it's like, stop giving your peace away. Stop giving your peace away so easily. Like I said, we may not be able to control a lot of things. We can't control people, but we certainly can't control, how we respond to things, how we take it in, how we process things. We can control that. So just practice controlling you. And I found that imagine what kind of world it would be. I'm on my soapbox now, but imagine what kind of world we would live in if everybody was to just take personal responsibility for their actions, their thoughts, their responses, instead of just being so quick to respond, to react to everything. Um, I have learned before I even get moved about something that I need to know the truth. There's three sides to every story. There's your truth, my truth, and there's the real truth. And so I've learned that I'm just not going to get all into my emotions without any type of legitimate reason, without any type of valid reason why. I'm not going to allow my emotions. It takes some energy to be emotional. And I'm just like, I want to conserve all the energy that I can. So I try to get the facts. Like I said, I know people, and I interact with people on a daily basis that they're so quick to get upset. They're so quick to get stressed out. They're so quick to, respond emotionally. And they don't even have all the answers. They don't even, they get a little bit, a snippet of information, and they go off of that, and they just, before you know it, they're all the way at 100. They're just flipping out, or they're so stressed out. And it's like, and I'm having to talk them down, literally. And I'm just like, just listen. Just listen, get all the facts, get the truth, have a full understanding of what's going on before you decide how you want to respond. Do not ever respond based upon half information or the lack of knowledge and information. And I would even say the lack of wisdom. Take a step back before you choose to respond to something, and just make sure if it requires, what does it require? Does it require your time and attention? Does it require your energy? Because I think sometimes we give energy to things that it's not even worth our time. It's not even worth our emotions. It's not even worth getting upset about. It's not even worth getting stressed out about. We just give it all away. And it's like, no, you can decide. You can decide what you give your time, what you give your attention to. You can decide what you give your emotions to. And like I said, I've been on the other side. I've lived in chaos for day after day after day years ago. I know what it feels like to have no peace. I know what it feels like to be constantly, stressed out in crisis mode, just chronic stress. And it really took a toll on me. It took a toll on my mind. It took a toll on my health. And like I said, when I began to take control over my thoughts, when I begin to take control over what I can actually control, when I begin to just take people at face value and stop expecting people to be what they can't be, and just meet them halfway and just accept them as they are, you know, I learned how like I said, I began to experience peace like I had never experienced before. And since then, I'm still living a life of peace. I refuse to forfeit my peace. I refuse to give it up. I refuse to give it away. I refuse to let it go. It takes a lot for me to get out of peace. I don't do too well. I get, you don't know, have you ever had that feeling where you're just like, that's how I am when it comes to peace. I have to live in peace. I need my peace. I cannot live without it anymore. And so like I said, I just, excuse me, just want to encourage you to just, you know, um, take your control back. Whatever you or whoever you have relinquished your peace over to, take it back. Take your peace back. Take it back. And decide from this day forward that you're not going to give your peace away. You're not going to let someone take it or steal it or snatch it. You're not going to forfeit your peace, but decide today that you're going to walk in peace. And I honestly believe that when we begin to make those conscious decisions about the things that we can control, and like I said, when it comes down to it, we can control more than what we think we can, because we can control us. And if we start with ourselves first, oh my goodness, that's like half the battle right there. If you learn how to control your thoughts, if anything that you're thinking is not uplifting and productive and fruitful and is not producing good results, then cast it down, cast it out. Don't entertain it, because like I said, in our minds we can create stress just by thinking about something too long. We can create stress of, just in our minds with just thinking about something in a negative way. Change that around, flip that thing around, and no matter how bad it looks, no matter how bad it seems, flip that thing around and begin to see it, and try to look at it in a positive aspect. And if you feel like you can't get anything out of it, that don't that's not good, then try to get God's perspective on the situation, because sometimes it's all about perspective. Literally, how our vision may be skewed depending on if we are biased in a situation. Our perception may be skewed depending on, sometimes it's hard when you're in the middle of something to see a different perspective about something. So try to take a step out of what you're out of, and try to take a step back and look at it from a different point of view, a different perspective. Because like I said, sometimes it's all about perspective. And and also, get the full facts before you decide before you decide to put your time, your attention, your energy, and your emotions into it. Okay, like I said, some things are just, it's just not worth it. It's like, you know what, I am not going to give any attention to that. I have a zero tolerance for foolishness. And I have decided that I am not going to entertain foolishness. I am not going to give my mind, my time, my emotions, my energy to foolishness. And sometimes it's just about that. It's just about setting boundaries and saying, no, I'm not going to give attention to that. I'm not going to give any energy into that. I'm not going to give any thought into that, because it's not worth it. And like I said, you have that control to make that decision. Okay. So, I hope that, there was something that I said that was helpful, and like I said, oftentimes stress comes from a feeling of helplessness or hopelessness. And so I just want to encourage you to take that control back, that you're not helpless, you're not hopeless. There's always hope. It's just how you look at a situation, okay? And even in those situations, those external um, those stressors caused by people, or situations or circumstances, there, it's just all about perception, and then internal stressors, those stressors that we cause ourselves because we're thinking too much, we're thinking, um we got some stinking thinking going on. We're not thinking positively and not thinking with a clear perception about things, a right perspective. We imagine things in our minds that haven't even happened. And even if when if something does happen, it's not even close to what we've imagined. So we've gotten ourselves all worked up over nothing. And then those environmental stressors, those stressors that, like I said, are work related. You may have some stressors at home or at school. And like I said, those are just basically as far as the environment. And I believe that we are atmosphere changers, that we ought to command such a, a presence about ourselves that we can walk in a stressful situation and command peace, that we don't have to allow our environment to change us into something that we're not, or to even compromise our peace. That you are atmosphere changer, and that your presence should command peace. When you walk in a room that's chaotic, your presence should command peace, because you are walking in peace. Now, you can't command something that you're not walking in. You can't. So if you're not living a life of peace, you can't command peace. You're going to have to walk in it and live it in order to have the authority over it and to command it. Okay. So, like I said, So yeah, so we are going to pick this conversation back up in my Hope for Single Mothers Facebook group. I would love to know how you feel and what you have to say about it. I am curious about what are some stressors in your life. Like I said, I just named off some categories of 3 different types of stress, which are acute stress and epidemic acute stressors, and then stress rather, and then chronic stress. And then I named some stressors: external stressors, internal stressors, environmental stressors, and biological and chemical stressors. Okay, so I would love to hear what you have to say about it. If you're watching me via YouTube, my YouTube channel, go ahead and comment below and just let me know your thoughts on this video. Like I said, I'll be coming back next week and check in Wednesday, and I will be discussing with you I will go more in depth as far as the types of stressors, or not the types of stressors. Yeah, I hope that's what you meant to say. I talked to you today about the kinds of stress. Next week, I'm going to talk about the types of stressors and even some symptoms of stress. Okay, so if you're joining me via Hope for Single Mothers Facebook group, like I said, I will be joining you, you guys, you ladies rather, later on tonight at 8 o'clock for our group chat. And like I said, think about some things, jot down some questions that you may have, or some ideas or thoughts that you may want to express. I would love your participation, and I thank you for you that have been tuning in since I've started our group chat. And I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate your participation and you just joining us, okay? And so if you're joining me by Hope for Single Mothers YouTube channel, yes, I want to remind you again, just in case all this time I've been talking, you still haven't clicked that subscribe button, go ahead and do it, and then click the bell so every time I upload a video you will be notified. Like I said, I'm in a series, so this is part 1 and I have 3 more videos to go. So if you want to stay tuned, you want to be notified when I post those 3 videos, go ahead and click that bell and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, well, I wish you all the best, and I will be coming back at you on Saturday for Self-Care Saturday. I'm really excited about it. I haven't done a Self-Care Saturday in a while, kind of been on a break, but I'm going to come back with you and we're going to have some fun. All right, well, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of the week, and I pray that you were blessed by my video today. Go ahead and comment below for YouTube channel and my Facebook group. You can also comment, and I will see you later. Okay, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and I leave you with love, peace, and blessings. Bye bye.